Coming up today on the Locked On Hornets podcast, we look at the case for Kon Knueppel winning Rookie of the Year. Is it really even possible? Tidjane Salaun, he didn't win Rookie of the Year last year, and now he's down in Greensboro in a sophomore campaign. Yeah, we'll discuss what that means for the Hornets all today, LOH.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
It's Locked On Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Thanks for making us your first listen. We are free and available anywhere you get your podcast, and that includes YouTube. Doug Branson, he's here. Everyhornetsboxscore.com. Go check out the Substack. Also, go check out Yahoo Sports Daily. He's producing behind the scenes for Jason Fitz and Caroline Fenton. And I'm Walker Mail. Listen to me, WFNZ, every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. You know, one way to introduce this conversation is by going to FanDuel and seeing what the odds are for Kon Knueppel to win Rookie of the Year, because I can't imagine.
I can give you the BetMGM odds.
Okay.
Maybe that's.
I think the idea was to please the client,
listen,
but we can.
But I just have it in front of me. I'm sorry, I have it in front of me. I don't like. I have the information in front of me. What do you want me to do?
I do want you to read it. You're right. That's fair. I do want you to read it. What are the odds on BetMGM?
You can give me the FanDuel ratings, or FanDuel odds, and then we can make a informed decision. So
okay.
I've got Cooper Flagg, according to BetMGM, at -110. VJ Edgecombe at +115. Then Kon Knueppel, you got to go way down.
Even still.
To get to Kon Knueppel at 3 at +1,600.
Gotcha.
Bit of a chasm.
Oh, the official odds of the Rookie of the Year award. Cooper Flagg is still at -125. VJ Edgecombe is at +150. And Kon Knueppel is at +1,800. He has the third best odds to win Rookie of the Year. Cedric Coward, who's been off to a great start, he's fourth.
Called it.
Trey Johnson is fifth, and Dylan Harper is sixth. Dylan Harper, with the injury, was playing well, but did get injured. I don't think it's a small thing, though, for Kon Knueppel to be third on the list behind Cooper Flagg, whom I think maybe Kon has been playing better than overall at this point in the season. And he's behind VJ, where VJ's just been nuclear to start the year. He's been so freaking good up in Philly. But Kon is third. And I wanted to focus on that because we needed to pick me up after some of the injury reports that we've seen, including the latest one, which still has LaMelo questionable because of ankle impingement. Even Colin Sexton is on the injury report. Good news. He's probable with a neck strain. So he is on the report, but he is listed as probable. And it does feel like the Hornets have gone away from listing a guy as probable and then eventually not playing him anymore. Probable meant nothing 2 years ago. It does feel like they're a little more accurate over the last year. Either way, he's on the injury report, but he's probable. LaMelo, he's questionable. Okay, no Kon. I want to focus on the good. Kon has been sensational in my opinion. If you look at where he ranks in some of the rookie categories, Doug, he's second in points per game at just under 15 per contest. He's right behind VJ Edgecombe. You look at the three-point shooting percentage. When you compare the accuracy with the volume, I'm not sure there's anybody shooting better at all. Like, he's shooting 7.5 threes per game, and he's making 3.5. 41% from three. Sion James is ahead of him, but nobody's shooting at the volume Kon is. And when you bring in the fact that he's shooting above 40% from three, it's ridiculous. The true shooting, it's fantastic. So you also see some of the stuff that he's doing on Synergy. We have access to that now. Thank you to the Locked On Podcast Network. He has a very good jump shot percentage in terms of point per shot attempt there. So he's in the 74th percentile in terms of point per shot attempt on his jump shots. Catch and shoot opportunities, 60th percentile. When he's guarded, he's been excellent, making 88. He's in the 88th percentile on guarded catch and shoot opportunities, and he's also in the 93rd percentile in dribble jumpers. Yeah, like he's been pretty damn good offensively. Defensively, I don't think that he's been an issue. Charles Lee has talked about even praising him a little bit defensively. Just overall thoughts on what Kon has done so far in comparison to some of the other rookies that were in his area. Cooper 1, Dillon 2, VJ 3, Ace Bailey, whose name we did not mention in the Rookie of the Year odds because they're further down, and it's been a rough go for Ace Bailey to start the season. Trey Johnson, so on and so forth, Doug.
I don't know what's going on with Ace Bailey, but Will Hardy seems to be giving him the business, keeping him on the bench there. And, I mean, it just didn't look like much of a factor, at least when the Hornets, when they played the Hornets. So
I don't think has had a good game yet, has not had one good game that you can point to yet.
Yeah, so, and I think Cooper Flagg has had his share of troubles as well, putting the ball in the hoop, passing the ball. He's not turning it over a lot, but just not putting up the kind of numbers I think you would have expected from the number one overall selection, particularly when you looked at what the role he was going to have for that Mavericks team right away. But that Mavericks team has been a mess. So you look at that. Philly, I think they're riding a sugar high right now of Maxey going off, VJ going off, Embiid kind of getting back. But I just wonder, like with that Philly team, once Embiid is fully online, if they ever get Paul George back, how that's all going to work. Are all those pieces going to make sense? Will the sugar high eventually wear off? And then maybe VJ's numbers, which if you look at just the past couple of games, are starting to like come back to reality, which is like, that's what happens. Like sometimes rookies get off the hot starts, sometimes they get off the slow starts, and then they peak, and then they valley, and then they peak, and then they valley. You know, I thought honestly Dylan Harper before the injury was going to have the best opportunity just because of the player that he had to play off of and to deliver the ball to. But that injury significantly hurting that. So then I look at Kon Knueppel, and I think, man, could he sneak in a Rookie of the Year just by being the most consistent? Just by like doing a lot of things pretty good and not necessarily like being excellent at any one thing, but hitting a lot of open shots and just being pretty good at everything. He's got to reduce the turnovers, turning the basketball over a little bit too much. I think he has to slightly increase the level of his play creation, in terms of, but here's what I think is also working for him is the Hornets have done such a good job early in this season, putting Kon Knueppel, a rookie that you're going to say, hey, we're going to start you. You're going to play a big role for this team right away. I think they've done a good job putting him in the right positions where he can make an impact. And if you look at some of those synergy numbers, a lot of where he is super efficient offensively is off handoffs. So, helping him to create a little bit of space between him and his man where he can get those spot up jumpers, no dribble, just catch, bang. Or get him going downhill where he can play create. And then this is the crazy thing, PNR roll man, as a roll man, and you say, well, what's that? Like just a couple of possessions? Not really. I mean, 13% of his possessions, the same as handoffs. So you add that up, that's 26%. It's a quarter of his possessions, handoff roll man. He is in the 98th percentile as a pick and roll man.
That's
in
right.
terms of his offensive efficiency, because he's getting to the middle of the floor where I think he's comfortable, where I think he wants to operate. He can pull up, he can knock down that mid-range jumper, or he can move it to the corner. And then it's just that that adjustment in his decision making that can cause like one or two extra turnovers. He knocks that out, and all of a sudden, man, I think he could roll. VJ is look, man. I mean, VJ looks awesome. If Philly pulls it all together, I could see VJ winning it easily. But a couple breaks go Kon's way. I could definitely see an opening happening for him.
Well, and I think too, okay, so VJ Edgecombe, if we just give everybody a clean bill of health, and they continue to do something close to what they're either doing now or what we think they're capable of, VJ Edgecombe is the guy to me. Even with Cooper Flagg, man, maybe there's so much hype surrounding Cooper that people are going to find a reason to give it to him, and he gets the benefit of the doubt if Cooper and VJ have very similar years. So that might be the thing. It's going to be hard to beat the generational talent for sure. But if VJ vastly outperforms him, then you immediately go to VJ. I think it's going to be probably harder because of that kind of thing for Kon to pass Cooper. But then maybe it is just Kon. And you're right about being so consistent and just chipping away every single section of the season. You look at his basketball reference page and he's just rock solid in a bunch of different categories, maybe on top of the excellent shooting. Maybe he just ends up having shot 40% from three. Maybe I think records too, man. Look, what has picked up national attention is Kon Knueppel setting the record for rookie made three-pointers in his first 4, 5, 6, 7 games. And I went over this. Keegan Murray has the record for a rookie with 206. Kon right now is on pace for something like 280. So he's 3.5 attempts made per 7.5 attempts per game. Nothing seems unsustainable outside of just not hitting at that high of a clip. You bring it down to 37%, and I'm doing terrible math, but let's just say he goes for 230, vastly off of the pace that he's currently on. You still set a record by hitting 20 more threes than the next guy. Records like that, that's going to get people's attention. 1,800 odds, man. If we want to continue in the Vegas space and we want to talk more about FanDuel, those odds aren't bad, especially if you think Kon can get the three-point rookie record and you think he's going to end up with rock-solid numbers, especially with the nerds liking those percentiles, liking those stats, liking the efficiency. You know what? I just talked myself into it a little bit. Might go to FanDuel myself.
Well, yeah, he needs a record. I think he needs one insane stat cat. Like he needs one, whether it's maybe percentage from three or something. He needs one like insane nerdy stat cat, something in the synergy numbers that the Zach Lowe's and the nylon calculuses of the world can glom onto and write an article about. I think he needs LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller to come back because I think he needs the Hornets to win. I think he needs that in his argument. Like look at 19 wins last season. They start Kon Knueppel, and he's been a big factor in why they've won. VJ Edgecombe, he might be part of a winning team too that's going to, significantly up their win total. But people will look at that and say, well, you got Joel Embiid and you got Paul George. If those guys are healthy, those are all NBA caliber players that you've got on your squad. Nobody's going to say that about LaMelo Ball or Brandon Miller. And so I think Kon Knueppel will have that going in his favor. The one thing that he doesn't have going in his favor, and this could really be the nail in the coffin, and it's that it appears that Bill Simmons is legally prohibited from talking about him and talking him up anymore. So you're not going to have the Bill Simmons factor getting on his podcast and saying Kon Knueppel, flying the Kon Knueppel flag anymore, saying he should be Rookie of the Year because apparently his lawyers have said hands off.
He has said that, and he's been very mature about it since then, but he was getting pretty crazy for a while, so that's going to hurt with not having the Bill Simmons exposure. Yeah. I want to continue to talk about the LaMelo and Brandon presence. Let's get to that coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast. Bees everywhere! I think there are a couple of cases to be made for Kon benefiting in terms of winning Rookie of the Year without those guys on the floor and benefiting with those guys on the floor. Glass half full, glass half empty. I'm going to choose the half full approach for the first time this week. That's still to come, LOH.
I'm just going to be a glass hole.
This episode is brought to you by Gusto. Let's be real. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in, to take the stress out of payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent, and fast. Whether you're hiring, onboarding, or paying employees, Gusto helps you do it all from one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Unlimited payroll runs for one monthly price, which means no surprise charges at the end of the month provided by Gusto. Gusto's automated tools like offer letters, onboarding materials, and direct deposits can save you hours every week, and knowing you can reach certified HR experts anytime, it could give you a real peace of mind. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA and get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's right, 3 months of free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, that's gusto.com/LockedOnNBA. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Kon Knueppel performing really well on a winning team is only going to help him. This team has a better chance of winning with LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller on the floor. That's the easy case. It's a right case to make for Kon benefiting from those two guys on the floor to possibly win an award with good numbers. That's true. I do want to explore the argument that he could benefit without those guys on the floor a little more, because I think there's a case to be made there. I think the numbers, the volume, the opportunities, those could go up with Kon if Brandon continues to miss more time, if LaMelo continues to miss more time. They're running offense through him. In fact, they're going to him in critical moments. So continuing the narrative.
How'd that work out?
They're not a great play. I'd like to use them, but I didn't like the play.
It was a pick and roll ball. It was a pick and roll man.
You know what? Maybe he was like, but synergy, guys. Maybe you're right. Hey, we just went to synergy. He's pointing to synergy, and it just didn't work out. But to have some of the narrative moments, right? I know you're big on narrative. It makes sense for these types of awards.
Narrative moments.
Well, social media gets a hold of some Kon game winners or clutch shots from Kon, and those start circulating, and those are implanted in our brains by the end of the season. That's going to go a long way on top of pairing that with a record he might get. And in those clutch moments, you might go to him because you can't go to LaMelo because he's not playing. You go to Kon because you can't go to Brandon Miller because he's not playing. You go to Kon because you don't trust Colin to hit a three-point shot right now, right? Like, so you have those moments for Kon Knueppel as well. And I do think, I wonder just how much winning matters for this specific award, because so often rookies go to bad teams that are top 5 picks, right? That's how you end up there most of the time. So I wonder just how much it matters. Stephon Castle, Victor Wembanyama, Paolo Banchero, Scotty Barnes, LaMelo Ball. Those are your last 5 Rookie of the Year award winners. Those are some special guys in there. Stephon Castle is the one that I would not classify as special compared to the other ones. You do have some special talents. Right. You do have some special talents here. So Kon doing this last year, Doug, I think he's the favorite. I think you just go ahead and put your money down on Kon Knueppel. This year, tougher sledding with the class around him.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the reason why I say wins is because I think Kon is the kind of player that's going to need to build an alternative case. And he's going to need help all across the board. I don't think that Kon is going to be able to, just on his individual performance, be able to pull ahead of these Rookie of the Year candidates like VJ Edgecombe, who can really do it all on the offensive end of the floor and he can do some incredible things on the defensive end of the floor, obviously. And then Cooper Flagg. We know what Cooper Flagg can do. The question is, can he do it in Dallas with what's going on there? And the answer is probably yes. We're very early in the NBA season. But I just think if the answer ends up being no to that, and you have a couple of other injuries or different things, and Kon manages to be the only Hornet in the history of Charlotte Hornets basketball post-2015 to actually stay healthy, then there's got to be a way to build an alternative case. And I think wins could be an important part of that, because if the Hornets win, then people will write about them. And if people are writing about them, then they'll write about Kon, because he's an interesting player to write about. So that's where I go to the wins factor for him. Why I think you need LaMelo Ball is because for precisely why, I would look at that Colin Sexton possession, the Colin Sexton to Kon Knueppel possession that went wrong for New Orleans, and say, 100%. If I plug LaMelo into that, I think Kon has a lot more space, room to operate, just a half second more, before Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado might not even go with Kon. He might just stay with LaMelo to try to double team up top and keep LaMelo from shooting the three, the deep three. You're not worried about that with Collin Sexton. How many times already have we seen Kon Knueppel hand the ball off to LaMelo Ball and do a little scurry step, like a, anybody called it that? Like the Steph Curry?
Did you just
Steph
scurry
Curry
Steph Curry? Did you just combine that? I like it.
Perfect timing, right? I mean, it's only his like 29th season in the league. The scurry step.
This is really going to take off for the rest of his career. I like it. We got plenty of time to let this
Is
marinate.
he have a kid? All right. Oh, yeah,
I think I've seen her.
No, Aisha's the wife. His kid is, what's the kid's name?
Riley, I believe.
Riley. I think you're right. What was I saying? The scurry step. How many times have we seen the scurry step from Kon Knueppel? And all of that gets created because of the gravity. You love that word, right? Everyone loves that word, gravity of LaMelo Ball pulling defenders away from Kon Knueppel. Maybe Kon develops into the kind of player that develops a gravity of his own, but he doesn't have that right now. So you need LaMelo Ball.
He's got gravity. You don't think he's got gravity?
Not right now. Nobody look, the scouting reports will catch up. It will develop into that. But no, I don't think
the shooting? Okay.
No, the reason why he's so open in the middle of the floor off these roll possessions is because everybody's like, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to let that happen. And like you look at these possessions, he's like wide open. He's getting finger rolls. I'm just telling you, if he keeps this production up by the end of the season, some big guy's going to come over and not allow him this open space in the middle of the floor.
Well, yeah, I mean, on the 3-point shots, it's already stupid to leave them open. Like that's to me, that's bad coaching. If you're gonna decide to go away from Kon on the 3-point line, I mean, what are you doing? Like,
you're picking, but with LaMelo and Brandon on the floor, you're picking your poison, and I think you'll pick Kon.
Yeah. Which to your point is right. Like you are put into a tough decision when you have the better basketball players on the floor. And you said a lot there that allows me to transition into the power rankings, because one, in the first part of your point, it was LaMelo, right? The conversation transitioned from having Brandon and LaMelo on the floor, and then really we just started to focus on LaMelo being on the floor being the most important thing for Kon. Because Kon now gets some of the Brandon Miller shots, and LaMelo is the facilitator. We don't necessarily think of Brandon making the plays for Kon. We think of LaMelo doing that.
I don't know what to think of Brandon anymore. I just haven't seen it, and that's not a slight on Brandon. I just haven't. Yeah. What does Brandon and Kon look like without LaMelo? I just have no idea.
Yeah.
There's so many questions that I have about Brandon Miller that I can't answer. People come up to me on the street. They say, "What do you think about Brandon Miller?" I say, "I have no idea. Haven't seen him."
It's gonna be all right, man. It's gonna be okay. That was how we were going. You're letting these thoughts
for no reason whatsoever. I do one of my tabs that's open right now. No reason. I tripped and fell onto my browser, and now it's on tankathon.com. And did you know, Tankacon, did you know that the Charlotte Hornets right now own their own 9th pick, according to record, and then they also, if the season were to end today after 8 games, the Charlotte Hornets would have the 10th pick as well, due to a very complicated series of worst picks between Washington, Memphis, Phoenix, and Orlando. Orlando also off to a rough start. They would get Orlando's pick at 10. Crazy.
Yeah. We're already there, man. We're going to Tankathon right now.
No. I didn't go. I'm telling you.
I'm sorry.
I came into the room. I tripped. Mm-hmm. I fell onto my computer, and bam, Tankathon shows up.
Maybe it was Grace. Maybe she was on your computer searching for the next draft pick.
She's randomly, both hands just knocking at the keyboard. Yeah.
She's intelligent.
It shows up on Tankathon. Yeah.
Yeah. She knows what she's doing with the Tankathon websites. She's already a Hornets fan. Coming up next on the Locked On Hornets podcast.
Koa Pete, number 10 overall right now, according to Tankathon.
Bees everywhere!
We're already at Tankathon.
Caleb Wilson, number 9, UNC. Yeah. Go Heels.
Yeah, maybe he falls to number 10 in this hypothetical situation. Power rankings. We'll get to those with the Hornets. And, speaking of writing about Kon, somebody wrote about Kon. We'll talk about the write about Kon. And then Tidjane Salaun going to Greensboro. That's all coming up next, LOH. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA, it's here. It's beautiful. There's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to the fourth quarter comebacks. Plenty of stuff to choose from. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Back to the point about LaMelo being important to Kon. It's what Kevin Pelton writes on the latest Power Rankings edition when getting to Charlotte at, drum roll, number 24. They are down from 18 after the first week to 24. 18 got to be the highest that we've seen them in the Power Rankings in a very, very long time. But now they're back to a familiar territory at 3-5. But one of the little side paragraphs that they would provide with this Power Rankings article is who is the top newcomer for each team, and that award goes to Kon Knueppel. And here's what Kevin Pelton writes. Knueppel has had the biggest impact of the newcomers, averaging 30 minutes a game, 14 points per contest. Both of those numbers have gone up. He's shooting 43% from three-point land, which has gone down a slight bit at 41%. On high volume, 7.5 attempts per game. And he's been an ideal fit alongside LaMelo in the Hornets backcourt. Canipple had a career-high 24 points on Sunday when the Hornets beat the Utah Jazz. Kon was a big part of that. So just to your point, Kon is somebody fun to write about. People are already noticing what he's doing as the top 5 selection. He is getting talked about, but also it's that part. It's that little snippet within that paragraph. He's an ideal fit alongside LaMelo. So to bring this back to your initial point, he needs LaMelo on the floor. He needs both players, but also even really specifically, we can pin this thing on LaMelo being out there because, one, LaMelo just helps everybody. He's such a savant. Like, he's so good. Everybody benefits offensively from LaMelo being on the floor, and Kon is no different. So what do you think about the Power Rankings write-up?
I think it all makes sense. I was looking at his on-off stats, and strangely, when he's on the floor, the Hornets get small sample size theater, all the caveats, the missing LaMelo Ball for some of this, missing Brandon Miller for some of this. But when he's on the floor, offensively, the Hornets are minus 5.7 points per possession, but they're also minus 12.1 points per possession on defense, which is great. Fantastic. They're much better defensively when he's on the floor. And his defense has been a surprise to me. I particularly like his on-ball defense. He's gotten some tough matchups. And like Andrew Wiggins, he might get him again here on Friday against the Miami Heat. And so, he's done a little bit better in that category than I thought he would. But offensively, I would, if I had to guess, and I didn't really dig into the numbers, but if I had to guess, there have been several games where the starting lineup has gotten smoked and not been able to produce what you would think they would be able to produce offensively. But the thing with Kon is, like, if LaMelo, who's questionable for the game against Miami, if he continues to sit out, if we get like horrible news on Brandon Miller and the 2-week evaluation turns into a surgery or something and he's out, is there any point in the season in which the team will trust Kon Knueppel to do more, ask him to do more, or will we see what we saw last season where Miles sucks up a lot of the oxygen? Now you've got Colin Sexton, who might suck up a lot of the oxygen. And then, Kon Knueppel just spends a year, being, even without those two on the floor, being like a third option. Which, again, in the grand scheme of things, is not really a big deal. Like, I think Kon can develop into whatever he's going to develop into, even if that's the case in this year one. A lot of story to be written. But if we're just talking about it within the Rookie of the Year conversation or whatever, that would be my curiosity, is at what point, then I might be really advocating a Miles Bridges trade or a Colin Sexton trade and saying, hey, you've got to make some room particularly once we get into the middle of the year, to really like unleash Kon and see what he can do and start to discover what that ceiling really is.
Yeah, I think you would. In my opinion, I think you would get more of that. But you're right about the Miles thing. With maybe that's the guy, because we've seen it already. We just saw it in this game against New Orleans, where you're still asking him to be a primary producer for this team when that's not the role that he's best suited at, in my opinion. Now, somebody that hasn't been a producer really in a bunch of different areas, it's Tidjane. Tidjane Salaun got optioned to Greensboro. I'm saying that like it's baseball, but he's down in Greensboro now. This is after Tidjane played 7 games, and then he went down with the Greensboro Swarm. You know, I thought he played well enough, showing some progress in the first couple of games of the season. Started to tail off, got a DNP CD. And one thing this organization has been good at, in my opinion, through a couple of different regimes now, is they do value their G-League, and they do value getting guys minutes, even if it is with the Swarm. And because it's so close, oftentimes we'll see the thing where they go back and forth. And Tidjane now, with Greensboro at the time, top 10 pick, 6th overall selection, weak draft, very weak draft. So the Hornets felt they could take a swing on a guy that, you know, might have a higher upside than the dudes behind him that were better basketball players here now, 2024 and 2025. Thoughts on Tidjane Salaun going to Greensboro?
I think it's a great decision. I think it's great for Tidjane. I think it's great for the current team that is trying to win basketball games, because, you know, you're going to have to outscore most teams. You're not going to be able to beat them defensively. And so you really have to value every possession. And the Hornets haven't been doing that because they've been turning the basketball over. That wasn't really a Tidjane problem. What is a Tidjane problem is that he was not in the right positions, like unless he was off the ball, hanging in the corner, waiting on, you know, a driving kick opportunity. You know, anytime he was setting a screen, just all kinds of like little footwork issues, little positioning issues that I think are much better to be handled in Greensboro than they are when you don't get a lot of practice time in the NBA. And I think the Hornets have done a good job really stocking up Greensboro and like making that into a more competitive G-League assignment. And so that's good too, because what you don't want is, you know, Tidjane going down there and just getting sort of like a sugar high of I'm going to go in here and get a bunch of possessions and dominate. Like I think you want him to be in a more competitive environment. I think they've set that up in Greensboro now, and that's been a continuing process. I think even dating back into the Mitch Kupchak era, like they as you said, like they've done a good job of really revamping that whole idea and refocusing on it. So yeah, just overall, like I'm not giving up on Tidjane, but it wasn't looking such that I'm like, all right, that's a bad game. He can bounce back. He can continue to improve within the NBA context. I just didn't think it was going to happen. So I'm glad they made this move early. And a lot of people are looking at like Liam McNeely and going, well, why didn't he get a Greensboro assignment? Because he's looking terrible too. And I would just say like different positions, different depth concerns. I think, and I may have said this already, but like Sion James being able to guard positions 1 through 5 like effectively made Tidjane a little bit expendable. Like you could lose that size a little bit. Kalkbrenner playing so well, same thing. Like I just think you could lose that size and still survive. And so it just made all the sense in the world to send him down.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and it doesn't mean we should give up. So the last couple things before we end the show, when we talk about being patient with the high risk, high reward, high risk, big loss, when we talk about that kind of draft pick, everybody says they're going to be patient, and then once we get to the second year, most of the fan base loses that patience. I mean, it goes straight out the window. And it was always going to happen like this, in my opinion, with Tidjane, because it was going to take more time for him to cook than being ready right out of the gate. I think we saw progress at the end of last season. I think we saw it. We saw the wheels turning. The game was starting to slow down for him. I think at the beginning of this season, we saw the wheels turning a little bit. I thought in that first game against the Nets, and he went 4 of 7, hit a couple threes, which is a big part to him staying on the floor. Had 4 rebounds. Actually had a couple of nice rebounding games. 5, 7, and 6 rebound totals in 13, 16, and 15 minutes played. So he clearly gives a bleep about going after the glass. And then, just was hitting one field goal, and that might be it for every game outside of the debut. The other point is, you bring up Tidjane going down to Greensboro and Sion James making him a little more disposable in that regard. Yeah, not a good sign for Tidjane this year, especially with Grant Williams having not come back yet. And that's only going to limit the opportunities that he has with a guy that plays the stretch four as a big guy that is supposed to come back at some point. Miles Bridges, for all his faults, one of them typically is not missing games. He's been one of the healthier guys on this team. So now you're talking about, all right, Miles is going to play a lot of games. Grant's going to play a lot of games. Sion makes him expendable. Where are the looks coming from for Tidjane? We're not 10 games into the season, and it's the rookies and everybody else. Without Grant being available, he is getting at most 10 minutes a game. And then you saw the minutes. They came down and down and down and down. Where are they coming? It's hard for me to find any more of those opportunities if the Hornets care about winning games, which these guys come back and Brandon and LaMelo, they are going to care about winning basketball games.
Yeah, but see, to me, like, that's actually why I'm not as concerned about it, because I think if this team didn't need so much offense and so much of the offense to go right, I think Tidjane might get more opportunities because, like, defensively, he looks pretty good. I think. I mean, I think his footwork's great. He can stay with smaller assignments, and he moves really great. His effort is still 110%. Like, no problems in those departments. It's just like so many technique things on the offensive end of the floor that have to get worked out. And so, look, he's here. He's under contract next season, and then after that, you're going to go into the club option question. Do they pick it up, or does he become a restricted free agent? And so I think, like, next year is going to be a real, like, what's the improvement from this year to next year? Are some of those technique issues worked out? Because, like, he still has physical gifts and basketball gifts that can separate him from, like, you could see a future with him over seeing a future with Grant Williams. You could see a future with him over some other options. If they moved on from Miles Bridges, like, there's openings that could happen, and he has gifts that could make those available to him. But yeah, there's a lot of little things that got to get worked out before then, or they'll make the decision, hey, we tried, it's time to move on.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if I'm worried about him in that regard. Like, look, it's not great right now. I can't tell you that I would put all my money on Tidjane Salaun figuring it out to where he's a legitimate rotation player. I don't know where he is. I'm not ready to give up on him. Just, if it's going to happen, I don't think the opportunities are going to be there to play a lot of NBA regular season games for him to find a real spot in the rotation. So if it's going to happen for Tidjane, it's probably going to have to happen more behind the scenes. It's going to have to happen in Greensboro. If you don't believe it can happen in the G-League, then it's going to have to happen a lot on the practice court, because Charles Lee's not going to play him. I mean, he's got to win basketball games with everybody on Twitter chastising him,
calling for his job.
Right. So if your job's in question, just like it's
not
every second, but yes, you're right. Except for it is every second of your NBA career.
Sure.
If you're so. With that, then
yeah, I mean, if they win 17,
if they win
17 games, if they take a step back, yeah, I mean, like, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah, if you want to win games, like, if he's going to improve, I don't think Tidjane helps you win games. So if he's going to improve, then I think it's probably going to have to happen on the practice court. And now you get to a philosophical question of how much can that really happen if he doesn't get live, real competition, real NBA reps. That's the conundrum. And then last thing, I keep saying last thing. Going back to my solo episode, when the team picked up the Brandon Miller and Tidjane Salaun options, it wasn't interesting that they picked up Tidjane Salaun's option now, because even James Bouknight and Kai Jones got their third-year option picked up going into their second season. That's what you do. You don't give up on your first-round pick after 1 year. But James Bouknight and Kai Jones did not get their next one picked up. So, like, this upcoming offseason, if Tidjane doesn't play a whole lot, Is he just the next first-round pick that doesn't last for a third year? Like, is that on the table for none of the same I shouldn't say none, but for a lot of different reasons than why James Bouknight and Kai Jones didn't work out here, but just strictly basketball reasons? Even so, if it's just basketball reasons that he doesn't last for a third season, it might be justified. It just might be, especially with the way that the rookies are balling out right now. Tough stuff for Tidjane.
Well, so the way I read it is like 26, 27, like that's already in the books. Like he's gonna do 26, 27. It would be the following off season where they would have the club option to decide and then move on to the RFA, right? So like he'll get at least another season to get this thing figured out. The way I read it, and so right, so like. Yeah, I still think there's plenty of time. It's why I'm not like crazy concerned. What I am concerned about is that in terms of taking a step back, is that I just did this draft lottery sim, and unbelievably, the Charlotte Hornets had both the 9th and 10th pick. They've moved back to 10 and 11. Both spots moved down, and OKC gets the 2nd overall pick, and Indiana, last year's finals teams, 1-2.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, the Tidjane point, by the way, it's a team option. Like, but I guess my point is, if you valued $8.2 million, or I'm sorry, because what you have to do, I'm sorry, picking up James Bouknight is in my head right now. Like when you picked up the James Bouknight and Kai Jones third-year option, those guys, James played 3 years. I guess next off season, you're talking about not picking up the 4th year option on Tidjane, right. and right. That's the decision. That's my fault. But you're right. Yeah, so you're baked in, baby. Tidjane Salaun, he's got one more year. That's baked in. And next offseason, the interesting conversation surrounding him is if you're going to pick up the 4th year option. All right, that's the $10 million. So
you're baked in, and the roster isn't baked in. Like a lot, it's not as if like, wow, I can envision next season there being no opportunities for Tidjane Salaun. Like with both Miles Bridges and Grant Williams, a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, house cleaning there. But anyways, yep. He's here, so hopefully he can make the best of it. Hopefully the Hornets and Tidjane together can make the best of it. Because I want it to work, man. Of course we all do. I want that attitude. I want those fist pumps in my life. I want all of it. I'm hoping they can make it work, but it's going to be tough for him to find opportunities this season. Doug Branson, everyhornetsboxscore.com. Also, go check out Yahoo Sports Daily. Jason Fitz, Caroline Fenton. Go check them out. And they are on YouTube, the Yahoo Sports Daily channel. It's very easy to find. We're on YouTube as well. Thanks for subscribing, liking, rating us, doing all that stuff you do with your favorite YouTuber. And then listen to me, Walker Mail, on WFNZ every weekday from 12 to 3 p.m. Sports Radio 92.7 FM. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back with you tomorrow.
Tank on.